Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Set at Home Mom. And I thought instead of doing the currently trending topic of police brutality and racism and all that stuff, I'm going to talk about something a little bit more positive, and that was going to my first homeschooling convention. Now, we only got to do the 2 out of the 3 days because of the stupid coronavirus. Kind of stopped our last day of that. However, it was such a cool and amazing experience that I got to have, and there were several people from my homeschooling community that were there as well. And overall, it was just a wonderful experience, and just heard some really cool stuff, and I can't wait to go to another one. I think one of the biggest thing was it was so great to be with a group of people that wanted to be there. They were there for their own children and wanting, to hear all the options and what's best for them. I've been to so many teacher trainings for about 10 years. And, it was kind of half the time it was a bummer to go because you're like, I'm going to get my professional development in. Oh, it's an in-service day, yada, yada, yada. And like half the time it didn't even apply to you, but you had to hear it anyway because the state requires you to have, all these hours to maintain your little piece of paper that says you are qualified to be a teacher according to the laws. And, the thing about with the homeschooling convention is you had a variety of choices. There was even special tracks you could take towards your philosophy. And it's not like you had to focus on a standard method. When you're in these teacher trainings, they're like, okay, because of these TEKS and these standards and because of the tests and the kids need to know this and da-da-da-da-da. And I took a lot of special ed ones because that's, what I did a lot. But as I was going through these homeschooling things, I realized how kind of disheartening it was to know that there was such a whole nother beautiful aspect to educating our children, and that not all children can experience this, that so many children are stuck in the government schools, and it's really sad. It's really sad that teachers have to be stuck to one model and way of doing things. So let me share a little bit of some of the stuff we did. I did 3 Charlotte Mason classes that were really cool. One was, they were from the woman Julie Ross over at A Gentle Feast, and she was great. She did a whole thing about talking about history, and the Charlotte Mason way of teaching history is where you read a story and the child narrates it. And she did a cool example of, she read like something that would have been from like, maybe a school worksheet, and then you answered these fact-based questions. And then she read another story. They were both about Andrew Jackson, and then she read like a story version. And so to this day, I will remember that Andrew Jackson and his brother were prisoners of war during the Revolutionary War, and then they both got smallpox, and his brother died, but he survived. Really random kind of things, but it kind of puts more humanizing to the people we learn about instead of just sometimes these facts, and it made it fun. I attended another talk, abolishing public schools, which was really good. I actually happened to did homeschool with the family, and the guy that runs this nonprofit, Deconstructing the Coliseum is his book. Talked about the how and why to teaching homeschooling and children about abolishing the public schools. And I know that's kind of an extreme stance to take, but he made a really good case for it. He talked about Romans 13 and how that civil education is not a role of the government according to what God has instituted. And he kind of gave a really good complex case to it. But one thing he said that really kind of stuck out to me was, we talk about reform, and I think every teacher desires reform for public education. They want it to be better. They do. But he said, he says, you can't reform a gentleman's club. And, what he was getting at is, you can't reform something that people love. If they love it and they love the way it is, you can't reform it. Because people like it. People like government school. They like the state being in control of their children and their education. And maybe they don't like it, but that's just the way it's been for generations and generations. I don't think there's much hope for reform. That's sad, but that's kind of what I realized. Every teacher wants to make a difference, but the system's not in their favor. I did one connecting to the heart of your child, and it was a parenting one. That was really good. Call to Mothering is what her Facebook page, her blog is. And that's always really good because I always need extra parenting help. I did one where it was 12 Christian novels every person should read, and that was great. And I'm in the process of reading one of those novels, and it helped to motivate me to get my butt back into trying to read it because it's Russian literature, and it has been very difficult for me to read and get through. One of the other Charlotte Masons was just kind of just a general, it was the Feast of the Charlotte Mason Method. I did something by Horrible History, and I actually had a book by the author. I didn't realize who the author was, but it was the the Patriot's Guide to American History. And he kind of counters, it was like the horrible history of the guy who wrote, Howard Zinn wrote The People's History of the United States. And I have that book as well. And he kind of went on and he kind of picked apart certain things that Zinn had said and said how Zinn misrepresented things and used things out of context. So, and he kind of shared a lot of just interesting facts about a lot of things. There might have been a couple things he said that it was like, my libertarian brain was like, no, not exactly. But he made a good case, and it was interesting. And it kind of made me to go like, I really do need to read his book because I got it as a reference. Attended one on living books and learning journals. And that was just how, it's just kind of another way to show, it was very Charlotte Mason related, and it was kind of another way to show how you can show narration in different ways, and that kind of stuff was kind of cool. Another was Culture, Curriculum, and Care, and that, I don't know, it was kind of a broad one. I did a specific talk on narration, which was really great because that's something we are planning on doing next year as part of our teaching. So she really went into that to narration. And I did one with how to socialize like a homeschooler, which was just a nice upbeat listening to one. And then I went to a big talk that had some of the bigger mom names like Pam Barmhill, Sarah McKenzie, and another woman I hadn't heard of before. And it was just kind of a laid back kind of talk. So it was really good. So I'm going to share just a few of the goodies I got. I didn't get to shop around like I wanted, but hey, that's okay. So I was given this book that I have not read yet. Truth is Fallen in the Street, Examining the Pedagogy of Christian Teachers in Public Schools. This was a freebie that I got. I bought this one, Socialize Like a Homeschooler, a humorous handbook, homeschool handbook. And that was a lady. Go follow her Facebook page. She's really very witty. And I feel like I can kind of relate to her a little bit. And just, little illustrations, little comments. It's kind of like your little, coffee table book, your little bathroom book. You just pick it up, you read it a little here and there. But really cute. And then I got this one, the Burgess Bird book. Now this Classic Living Books, they have a ton of books that I will actually be ordering more from them. I mean, these are a lot of books you can actually get free on the internet because they've passed their copyright dates. But don't you want a book with a pretty illustration? Because I do. So overall, I really look forward to going to more homeschooling conventions because I should have made a video right after I had done it because I probably would have, but then it probably would have been like a 20-minute video of me going on and on about all this stuff that I learned and all the knowledge. But it was just so beautiful to see a whole bunch of people there. A majority were Christians. This was a Christian-based homeschooling. So, it's very nice when you can easily and comfortably throw out the word God and prayer and Jesus and church. It's just wonderful because like I said, when I taught and I go to all of these all the teacher trainings, Like you don't have that. Even though a lot of people are Christians, you know, you don't, when it's related to school, like you don't bring God into the classroom. And when you're homeschooling, God is the reason that you homeschool. So it was just really, it's just nice, and it is kind of nice, and it's kind of comforting when you can be around people that share your worldview and your same motivations and your goals. Not to say that I don't believe you shouldn't homeschool with people that are different than you, because we have definitely meet up with a lot of people that are different in their homeschooling philosophy, their belief system, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But they're not the ones that are having the big influence, and they're not the ones teaching my children about worldview and morality and things like that. So there's, peace and security in that. So I really look forward to hopefully going to another homeschooling convention, because I still feel like I got shortchanged by a whole day. There was so much more I wanted to be able to do and didn't get to do. So here's to looking, hopefully going to another one in the future. If you've been to a homeschooling convention, share the one that you went to. I know most of them got canceled for the year because of Corona, but they did a lot of online stuff. Let me know what other homeschooling conventions that you think are great and worth going to. I live in the great state of Texas, so we had a couple options there. Hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe.